I woke up choking, my vision fading, the oxygen tube lifeless on the floor. The porch camera caught it all at 3:14 a.m. There she was, Linda, in a pink robe, wielding gardening shears, clutching a mug that read, "Stay elegant." She stared into the lens and hissed, "It's not personal. It's just unsightly." This was meant to be my new beginning. After 32 years navigating military contracts, federal audits, and surviving cancer twice, I retired. Doctors ordered clean air, constant monitoring, and a quiet neighborhood. So, I sold my city townhouse and bought a single-story ranch in a so-called serene HOA-controlled community. The brochure promised tree-lined sidewalks and tranquil living with modern charm. That first night, I sat on the porch, my portable oxygen unit humming, watching clouds drift over the cul-de-sac, believing I'd escaped life's storms. By morning, Linda appeared. No knock, no smile, just a clipboard and a visor screaming, "HOA," like she was commanding a battalion. Her eyes flicked from my oxygen unit to my welcome mat, both offending her. She didn't ask about my move. Instead, she demanded that I read the HOA's visual compliance rules. I hadn't received the handbook. She snapped, "Ignorance doesn't excuse violations," and slapped a printed warning on me for a visible medical device in a shared visual zone. I wanted to laugh, but didn't. My oxygen unit, a quiet beige box no bigger than a garden gnome, sat discreetly by a pillar, powering the line that kept me alive. I explained calmly that it was medically necessary and protected under the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA. Linda didn't flinch. She scribbled on her clipboard and said, "Laws don't trump aesthetic harmony." Harmony? I'd been there 6 hours, and a hurricane was already brewing. That afternoon, a notice appeared on my door, $200 fine for noncompliance, with daily penalties if the unit stayed visible. I called the HOA's number. It went to voicemail. No callback. So, I did what I'd done my entire career, I documented. Photos, equipment specs, ADA certifications, everything went into a folder labeled Incident 1. Call it instinct, but I knew paper trails were the last defense in a world gone politely insane. The next morning, a neighbor, Sarah, waved while watering her flowers. I approached, dragging my tank. Before I could speak, she whispered, "Watch out. Linda sees everything." I glanced at Linda's house. There she was, binoculars in hand, staring from her window. It was chilling, like living in a surveillance state. Sarah didn't laugh when I joked about the Truman Show. She said she once fined a guy because his satellite dish was visible from her backyard 2 houses away. I filed complaints with the county ADA office and the housing board that evening. My insurance advocate confirmed that HOAs often clashed with medical accommodations. I also called a journalist friend, Emma, from my Washington days. I wasn't ready for publicity, but I wanted options. Linda's arrogance screamed this wasn't over. It wasn't. On day 3, a new violation notice, in red ink, was taped to my unit. Unauthorized hardware. Remove within 24 hours or face legal escalation. No signature, just Aesthetic Enforcement Officer. I shook my head, filed it away, and kept going. Then came the sabotage. At 11 p.m., I heard a shuffle outside. My gut screamed trouble. The porch light showed nothing, but the next morning, my backup oxygen tube was sliced clean. Not torn, cut. If I'd switched lines that night, I'd have been in trouble. The doorbell camera revealed Linda at 3:14 a.m., shears in hand, snipping the tube and muttering, "It's just so ugly." I didn't sleep. My mind raced with legal codes and filings. By morning, I'd printed camera stills and started a second folder. Criminal. I filed complaints with the sheriff, state housing authority, ADA office, and my old legal team. Linda thought I was just a sick old man. She didn't know I'd spent decades auditing people like her. I sat on my porch that evening, oxygen secure, camera rolling, folders ready. A kid biked by and waved. I waved back. The storm was here, and I was ready. The next day, I called an old contact, James, at the local ADA office. I sent him the video, stills, and violation letters. He replied, "This opens a formal case." I breathed easier, shallow but steady, and taped a sign above my unit. Federally protected medical equipment. Sarah approached, hesitant, and shared how Linda forced her to remove her daughter's mobility ramp because it clashed with the wood grain. Her daughter was 7, using a walker. They paid thousands for a temporary lift. I asked if she'd complained. She hadn't, fearing retaliation. That word, retaliation, haunted the neighborhood. I drafted a petition for an emergency HOA meeting, citing a clause allowing a vote with enough signatures. I printed 30 copies, one for each household, with video links, violation screenshots, and ADA protections. That evening I knocked on doors. Some didn't answer. Others took the folder, eyes wide. I said, "I'm not asking you to fight for me. Stand up for yourselves." One woman signed in tears. By sunset, I had 17 signatures, enough. I emailed the HOA board. They had 72 hours to respond. Linda wouldn't like it. The next day, a black SUV parked across the street. A man with a badge marched to Linda's door, an ADA compliance officer. Her hands flailed as he handed her papers. She stormed to my porch, face red, accusing me of twisting the truth. I replied, "Your actions spoke loud enough." She spun away, fuming. That night, Emma texted. Her news station wanted my story for a Sunday segment. I sent her everything. Her reply: "This is gold." Linda's war was now public. At 2:15 a.m., my camera caught Linda again, in black, tampering with my unit's panel. A silent alarm buzzed. I called the sheriff's non-emergency line, citing my ADA case code. A deputy arrived, catching her mid-act. She claimed she was checking equipment. The deputy wasn't fooled. I handed him my folder. Linda went home, no arrest, but her confidence cracked. Emma's segment aired, titled, "HOA President Targets Disabled Veteran." My inbox flooded with support. A neighbor slipped a note under my door. "Thank you. I'm still scared, but you give me hope." It was from an elderly man with his oxygen tank, once been fined for a visible recycling bin. The emergency meeting came. Linda spoke first, blaming certain individuals for the case. I stayed seated, asking a neighbor to read my speech. It detailed the violations, the cut tube, the fear she'd shown. The room fell silent, then erupted in steady applause. The vote was 30-4 to remove Linda. She walked out, scarf fluttering, alone. Neighbors shared stories, threats over noise, fines for wind chimes, pressure to move. Standing up for myself had become standing up for them. The HOA settled, offering a public apology, waiving fines, and amending rules to protect medical devices. I sued Linda and the HOA for ADA violations. My new porch, with a locked, solar-powered oxygen cabinet and cameras, stood as a statement. A sign read, "ADA Protected Medical Zone. Access with respect." Neighbors helped plant flowers beneath it. Emma's follow-up segment, "When the air cleared," showed a healing community. Advocacy groups called, and I spoke at panels, ensuring no one else faced a Linda. Linda moved away, her reign over. The neighborhood bloomed, kids played, wind chimes sang, fear faded. I sat on my porch, oxygen humming, a peace lily from an anonymous neighbor beside me. Justice wasn't a courtroom, it was this, a home, a breath, a community free. What do you think? Was Linda's obsession with aesthetics just petty control, or did she believe she was protecting the community? Share your thoughts in the comments, and tell us about your own HOA battles or moments you stood up to a bully. Let's spark a conversation. Your story could inspire someone else.